Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for October 2018. October is my favorite month of the year. It's my birthday month. Temperatures start cooling down, a little crisp in the air. Marching band, high school football, just a great time of year, something I always enjoy. And Halloween, who doesn't love Halloween? So lots of stuff going on. The temperature's cooling down, but the books aren't. Tons of stuff coming out this month. The publishers really seem to ramp it up at the end of the year. Like they had all summer to get stuff done, and now we have lots of stuff going on.
From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner Colin McMahon transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us true believers for Comics Now!
We have Halloween Comics Fest. It's an event that Diamond Comics Distributor is trying to tie in, make an event. Everybody's trying to figure it out, but they send out lots of books for us to give away. There's small ones that you can buy and take home and give away instead of candy, which is always a great idea. We always have a fun party. We do a costume contest, and that's going to be on Saturday, October 27th. It's always the Saturday before Halloween, because Halloween's on a Wednesday this year, so that's going to be fun. So Halloween Comics Fest on the 27th. Also, we have the Walking Dead 15th anniversary, and we're having Walking Dead Day on Saturday, October 13th. And this one is they're reprinting a bunch of their bigger books, first appearances, things like that, with new covers. I believe they're going to be blind bags, so you don't know exactly which version you're getting. Sadly, there was a real long production time on these, and we ordered them so long ago that I've really forgotten. But I know that's coming up on October 13th. We'll have a big Walking Dead special. Because of it's Halloween, we're doing double points on all horror-related graphic novels. So if you can prove to me it's horror-related, even if it's a Spider-Man book, I've got to work on it, but I'll take it. You'll get double points on all horror-themed books. I'm also doing something that's a little different. This was a benefit of going down. I went down to Baltimore Comic-Con, and Comics Pro, that I'm a board member of, was doing a one-day nuts and bolts conference for people on how to do different things, book clubs and moving back issues and social media and things. And just talking to some of my friends who came from different areas of the country, had a real neat idea. One guy did a big back issue sale, and it was hugely successful, and I decided to do a little spin on it, and I'm doing a progressive back issue sale. It's going on for the next 8 weeks. For the first week in October, it's going to be 10% off all back issues, leading all the way up to 80% off on the week of Black Friday. So lots of stuff. I'm trying to move out some of my older stock so that I can bring in new stock. I only have so much room. I have a lot of room for back issues, but I only have so much room. So I want to bring some fresh stuff in, so I need to move the old stuff out. So it's just basically a neat idea. You can see what you want, maybe wait, see if it gets to the percentage off you want. If it's still there, it's going to be a little challenge, but hoping to move a lot of the stuff, and we'll be able to restock and refresh and have some new stuff out there for you. So that's going on all through October and November. Lots of stuff going on. We'll start with Marvel because they really have the biggest amount of new event books and exciting things going on this month. Spider-Geddon is the big Spider-Man event. A couple years ago we had Spider-Verse, which brought all the different Spider-Men from all the multiverse into this big event to stop the bad guys. Well, the bad guys have broken out of the prison that they put them in, and so they need to bring everybody back again. And it's the revenge of the Spider-Verse, and going to be bringing in a whole lot more new characters, as well as a lot of the ones that you had fun with. And they're introducing a whole bunch of little miniseries and new books out of this. So we're getting Spider-Verse itself is by Christos Gage and Dan Slott. Spider-Geddon is by Christos Gage and Dan Slott. Then we have a new Spider-Verse book by Christopher Priest. This is Kane, Spider-Woman, and some new characters are on a suicide mission to stop the bad guys. Vault of Spiders is going to be 2 big oversized books by Cullen Bunn and lots of other people. Just little stories about all the different characters. So you're going to, it's a little 4 or 8 page story about different versions of Spider-Man. Spider-Girls is by Jody Houser, and this is bringing together Mayday Parker, who was the original Spider-Girl in the future, Also, Anya Corazon, Prime Universe Spider-Girl, and Spider-Ling, which is from Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. And those are all coming together for the first time. Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man is also tying in. And we have a new one, Superior Octopus, where Doc Ock is back in his new body, and he's the protector of San Francisco, but his methods are not what you'd expect. Then, Marvel's getting into the Halloween fun. We're having the Avengers Halloween special with some Halloween stories, plus stories starring the X-Men and Doctor Doom. Shuri is a new #1. This is the breakout character from the Black Panther movie. His sister, who has been Black Panther before in the comics, is getting her own ongoing miniseries. Infinity Wars continues, and they're doing some more miniseries and some more of the Infinity Warps, where they're merging characters. We're getting a Sleepwalker 4-issue miniseries, and also in the Warps, we're getting Arachnite and Weapon Hex. So merging some characters to have fun. Return of Wolverine continues. Big success for that first issue. People apparently like this guy. And so that's going on for the next couple months. Also, an Unstoppable Wasp is coming back with another miniseries. This is by Jeremy Whitley. Shatterstar is getting a new miniseries by Tim Seeley. We haven't seen him in a long time. Black Panther versus Deadpool, because why not? And then X-Men Black is coming, and this is a series of 5 one-shots focusing on villains. And the villains include Magneto, Mogo, Mystique, Juggernaut, and Emma Frost. And these are going to have nice J. Scott Campbell covers and all sorts of fun. So, What Ifs are back. I'm a long-time fan of the What If books. I used them almost as education about things I didn't know back in the day, where it was, what if the Evolutionary War went a different way? Well, I didn't know what the Evolutionary War was, so they do a little recap, you learn what it was, and then they take a plot point and twist it and make it different. So these are some neat ones. There's one starring Magik, which is Colossus's sister, and what if she became Sorcerer Supreme instead of being a mutant and dying and going to hell and coming back and all sorts of things. The X-Men, Domino and Cable in Digital Wonderland. We have Thor. What if instead of Odin raising Loki, what if Odin lost to the Frost Giants and the Frost Giant raised Thor? Ghost Rider has one. Spider-Man, what if Flash Thompson was the one that was bitten instead of Peter at the Science Center? And then Punisher, which I thought was a really neat one. What if Peter Parker took Frank Castle's route after Uncle Ben was killed and basically went off and killing all the criminals? So that should be interesting. We have a new Marvel Zombie one-shot tying in with the horror theme. And also Typhoid Mary is back with a book, Typhoid Fever Spider-Man. I think this is going to be a series of one-shots, and she's returned to Hell's Kitchen and she's taking aim at Spider-Man. And then in the Star Wars world, we're getting an adaptation of Solo, the new Star Wars movie. DC is doing some fun stuff as well. 29 books are getting a special foil cover treatment. Keep an eye on Facebook and social Instagram and things, and I'll do videos as each one comes in so you can get an idea what they look like. From the videos I've seen, I haven't seen them yet, but it looks really, really cool. Just a foil treatment, single color, really neat covers. And that's going to be the main cover. It's not a variant or anything. That's just the main cover of the book. And they have some new ones too. We have Batman Secret Files, where they're taking a bunch of up-and-coming writers and letting them kind of play with Batman and doing small stories involving his past, looking back into his case history. They also have a Cursed Comic Cavalcade to tie in with Halloween. And then the Sandman universe is bringing two more books in. We're finally getting Books of Magic and Lucifer are both starting in October. Big horror kind of themed event. We have Wonder Woman, Justice League Dark, The Witching Hour. And in this one, Hecate is this mythical creature who is now being attacked by the people who she stole her magic from. So she's having to claim everyone who has been witch marked. And as we learned in the beginning of Justice League Dark, that Wonder Woman was marked by magic when she was younger. And so now she is going to be one of the most powerful people in her army, and Justice League Dark is going to have to stop them. We're also getting The Road to Drowned Earth, which is new storyline that's going to be going on in Aquaman and Justice League. Vertigo has an interesting one, Hexwives, about witches and an endless battle against these people called the Architects, and what happens when they seem to win and forget what their role was and just become regular people. We have Old Lady Harley, which is kind of a spin on Old Man Logan, and it's Harley in the future. And then they're doing another wave of the DC Hanna-Barbera books. We're getting Deathstroke Yogi Bear by Frank Thierry, Green Lantern Huckleberry Hound by Mark Russell, Nightwing Magilla Gorilla by Heath Corson. Heath Corson did that Bizarro miniseries a while ago. And we're getting Superman Top Cat by Dan DiDio. Vertigo is having something neat coming out. They do a bunch of these 75th, 50th anniversary books where we're getting a 25th anniversary of Vertigo. So Vertigo was very big into me getting back into comics in the 90s. So I'm very much looking forward to this celebration. Deathstroke is starting a new storyline where he's actually been declared incompetent and he is admitted to Arkham Asylum. So we'll see what happens with Deathstroke in Arkham. Green Arrow 45 is tying into Heroes in Crisis, which just came out at the end of September, about a sanctuary, which is where heroes go to kind of recover from the traumas of everyday life, and something has gone horribly wrong. And now Green Arrow's tying in. And then Green Lanterns is coming out. Number 57 is its last issue, leading into the Grant Morrison Green Lantern book, kind of clearing the slate for him to do what he wants. Image has a bunch of stuff coming out in October as well. Blackbird is by Sam Humphries and Jen Bartel. It's a neo-noir fantasy with magic in a whole nother dimension, kind of just under the level of Los Angeles, just behind the curtain. Dead Rabbit, this is Jerry Duggan and John McCrae, about a famous 90s hitman who disappeared, and now he's back, and why is he back, and what's going on. Errand Boys, in the future, if you can't get a job, you run errands, no matter how dangerous. A story about that. Exo Sisters, if a loved one has had their soul taken to hell, they can get it back for you at a cost. It's Kate, and they're identical twins, but something's odd about them. Infinite Dark. The universe ended, and this spaceship is out in outer space with the last of humanity, trying to figure out what to do when all of a sudden a murder occurs. And if you're the last humans, why would a murder occur? So, Juke Joint is set in 1950s New Orleans around a bar with lots of witchcraft. Murder Falcon looks like a lot of fun. Earth is under attack by these monsters, and Murder Falcon shows up to protect Earth, but he's powered by Jake's guitar riffing. So as long as he is shredding on his guitar, Murder Falcon has power. And Witches is coming out with a Halloween. It's just a one-shot. That was the Scott Snyder Jock story. We're getting a Bad Egg Halloween one-shot. Dark Horse, real big one from Dark Horse. Umbrella Academy, Hotel Oblivion. There's been 2 prior series of Umbrella Academy. This is by Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance and Gabriel Ba. And they were both excellent. I kind of poo-pooed him. Oh, it's a rock star writing this, not realizing he was a Marvel intern. And he wrote 2 really, really good stories. And it's actually going to become a show on Netflix. So this is the 3rd one and should be really good. Another fun one called Death Orb, where it's post-apocalyptic and thing, but I just like that name, Death Orb. I thought that was fun. Yeah, it's basically manga-style action in a Road Warrior setting. IDW has a fun one. It's a weekly book. It's called Star Wars Adventures Tales from Vader's Castle. And this is going to give a little horror spin to all of your favorite characters that you know they're going to do little horror stories. Judge Dredd is coming back with a new miniseries. And we're getting a prequel to George Romero's Road of the Dead, Highway to Hell. And it's written by Jonathan Mayberry, who did V-Wars. And there's an interesting one. David Lapham is doing a new one for Black Crown. It's called Lodger. And it's basically about a handsome drifter who is murdering his way through the Midwest, and his cover is he's a travel writer, so there's no wonder why he's going from town to town, and people just happen to be dying. Dynamite is doing a bunch of stuff that's licensed stuff. We're getting a Mars Attacks book, a new Kiss book, Lone Ranger, written by Mark Russell of Prez and Lone Ranger fame, a new Rainbow Bright book, Ms. Fury, classic Battlestar Galactica. They are also doing a whole bunch of Halloween stories featuring some of their more popular characters. We're getting an Army of Darkness, Betty Page, Elvira, Red Sonja, and Vampirella Halloween one-shots from Dynamite. Boom has some stuff coming. Adventure Time Season 11, the cartoon show just wrapped up. It ended, but the story will continue in comic form. They've done really well with their Adventure Time books, and I guess the company felt confident enough to let them keep going. Also getting one called Sparrowhawk, about a girl who was adopted and never quite fit in. And all of a sudden these evil fairies capture her and take her away, and they're about to attack Earth, so she now has to protect the place that never really accepted her. We're also getting a Backstagers Halloween Intermission. It's a book about the stage crew in a high school. Action Lab has a fun one. Albert Einstein, Time Mason. His job is to protect the time stream and keep anomalies from happening. Aftershock is doing one called Dead Kings. This is by Steve Orlando. And it's an in-depth exploration of retribution in all its dark, complex forms. Also have one called The Last Space Race, where there's one last thing that they've discovered, and it's a fight to see who's going to get there first. Lollipop Kids. This one sounds interesting. When the immigrants came, they brought their hopes and dreams. But in addition to that, they also brought their monsters. And 14-year-old Nick learns that he's a legacy, where his family has been one of many that have been designed to protect America from these monsters that have come, and now he has to take on that role. Ahoy Comics is a new company. They've come out with 2 books so far. One about a guy, malcontent, who goes to Earth or goes to heaven and he's never happy, and another one called The Wrong Earth, about basically like Batman 66 swapping places with the Dark Knight and their bad guys. So those 2 have been really good. They have a couple new ones. There's Captain Ginger, where after humanity has died off, cats have inherited the Earth. And it's a story about them trying to make their way through all the problems, and Captain Ginger has to try to wrangle all the cats and keep them in order. And another one is Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Terror, and this is where Edgar Allan Poe mangles classic tales and new stories. It's basically drunk history meets tales from the crypt. Aspen has a new one, Artifact 1. Black Mask, Sex, Death, Revolution. Esperanza is trying to rebuild her life, but someone is rewriting it as she goes along. And then Titan is bringing us the 13th Doctor. This is the new series that's going to be starting up in December. This is kind of the prequel. It's the first time we're going to see the new Doctor Who. So that's everything that's going on in October. Lots of really, really good stuff. Don't forget about Halloween Comic Fest, the last Saturday of the month. I forgot, we're going to be doing Lock and Key is our book club book for October. We're doing that the last Friday of the month, should be the 26th. And lots of stuff going on. Don't forget about the back issue sale if there's anything you're interested in, especially if you wait until late, it's going to be really, really cheap to pick up some stuff. So that's everything going on here at the store and in comics. New York Comic Con is coming up, so I'm sure we're going to get a lot of good news out of that, so we'll fill you in on that later. But if you want to get a hold of me, it's PittsburghComics.com. Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics. Twitter and Instagram is PGH Comics. So please ask any questions. You can always get a hold of me. And please stay tuned for Comics Previews Theater. Thanks.
And he does it right on my front stoop.
This city has to do something about the homeless problem.
Good luck with those bleeding hearts on the council. They say it's our fault for raising the cost of living. Excuse me for having skills and a good job.
Ah!
Old Digger's back. I've dug up a moist, maggoty meal of a manuscript for you tonight. It's about a bunch of 1% tech bros who bleed a proud old city dry. Then the same thing happens to them. I call it gentrification.
Yes, very clever, Digger. Now please shut up. Attention, rich people. I am Denson Macabre, here to announce the night shift is back to return San Francisco to its former glory. You will turn over all your money, credit cards, and electronic devices to the Brothers Grimm.
I'm getting more stuff.
I'm getting better stuff.
While Skeeter relieves you of your expensive clothes.
FYI, most of these bespoke clothes are made in China.
You messed up. I get paid for security too.
Everyone's a critic.
Great time for a lesson, folks. If you cross us, the wax man comes. I love watching the blood vessels in their eyes.
Enough! You have transgressed mightily, Night Shift, for this city is now under the protection of the superior octopus.
Wait, since when is Doc Ock in town?
That's an unexpected turn of.
Back off, Octavius. This is our score. Go rob a bank or something.
Unsurprisingly, your listening skills are lacking. I am no thief. I am at long last the hero San Francisco deserves.
You're a nut job. You're gonna be a nut job.
My Sonics are calibrated for symbiotes, but with a minor adjustment, they're just as effective against you grotesquerie. My costume is composed of unstable molecules of my own design and quite immune to your powers, Scheme. As for you, Miss Macabre, my goggles are most effective in countering your hypnotic dance. While the brothers are simply dolts, easily dealt with as such. Ooh. Now I can easily apprehend you opening yet another chapter in a failed life of incarceration and disappointment. Or you can listen to my proposition.
The game's still in you, huh? Figured you couldn't go straight. What's the offer?
I am new to the city and a busy man. I require agents who can keep me informed, who will commit no crimes. I shall compensate you from my own funds far more than you would earn from your stealing. This is not a negotiation. Accept my terms or suffer the consequences.
You want us to be your henchmen?
Hey, money's money. Works for me. You've got a deal.
Now, there's a twist. A. Corpse chums, former big bad, trying to be big good. Can it work? Or is he about to find an octopus? Can't change its.
Silence! Return their belongings to these people. You shall receive further orders in due course. Your first payment is already in your account. Trust me, and you will live just long enough to regret it.
So, are we good guys now, or?
Who the hell knows these days?